Welcome to St Matthew in the City, Stories of Our Past. On the walls of St Matthew's are various plaques in memory of people. They surround us each week at worship, but to be frank, we don't really notice them. Before we went into the first lockdown, I wondered if any of the people on our walls had died in the 1918 flu epidemic, and I thought maybe we could learn something about that period. We were able to ascertain that St Matthew's was closed for at least 3 weeks in November 1918. There was a notice in the Auckland Star, the newspaper of the time, announcing that there would be no services from the 8th of November and that Sunday school was also cancelled. But a mere 3 weeks later, the same paper announced the reopening of churches, not quite the lockdown that we have experienced. The Church Gazette was a newspaper that was published monthly, and it had a paragraph in it about each parish. And in March 1919, so the following year, they noted that St Matthew's had experienced the loss of some of our best workers and regular attendants. They said that both the vicar, Reverend Gillum, and the curate, Reverend Jasper Calder, who was the founder of the city mission, had both been sick. They both survived, but Reverend Gillum would retire with ill health later that year. The January 1919 edition lists 5 names of people who were victims of the flu: Frank Rose, Hilda Fricker, Sadie Shaw, Mr. Merritt, and Mr. Lindsay. But this plaque in the church is to the memory of Hilda Fricker. It says, "To the glory of God and in sacred memory of Hilda Elizabeth Fricker, scholar, teacher, and superintendent of the infant Sunday school, who fell asleep on November 23rd, 1918, aged 18 years." And then there's a quote, "She hath done what she could." And then it says, "Erected by the past and present teachers of St Matthew's Sunday School." The same Gazette in May 1918 mentions Hilda Fricker, and it says that she was appointed to lead the kindergarten section of the Sunday School and that she was a trained teacher. She died just 6 months later, still 18, so what a young teacher she was. I would love to know more about her. And when I read the plaque, I was intrigued by this quote, "She hath done what she could." I couldn't figure out for a while where that was from, and then I realised that it's from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 14, which goes like this. "While Jesus was at Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at the table, a woman came with an alabaster jar of very costly ointment of nard, and she broke open the jar and poured the ointment on his head. But some were there who said to one another in anger, 'Why was this ointment wasted in this way? It could have been sold for more than 300 denarii and the money given to the poor.' And they scolded her. But Jesus said, 'Let her alone. Why do you trouble her? She has performed a good service for me. She has done what she could. She has anointed my body beforehand for its burial. Truly, I tell you, wherever the good news is proclaimed in the whole world, what she has done will be told in remembrance of her.'" She has done what she could. I would love to know what the Sunday school teachers thought about in choosing this verse. Maybe "she has done what she could" implies the acceptance of a death in one so young. She's lived a complete life. She's done what she could. Or maybe they saw qualities in Hilda's life that were similar to the unnamed woman who anointed Jesus: devotion and love and care. Maybe they saw in her work with children an example to be followed. The way the passage finishes, "What she has done will be told in remembrance of her," That's always a line treasured by feminist theologians, pleased to see Jesus promising that the work of women will be remembered. So I think it's actually quite radical of those Sunday school teachers in 1918 to have spotted that verse and used it. So we can be really glad of this plaque and its quote, which helps us to remember Hilda and to remember the flu epidemic which so marked our communities in 1918, just at the end of World War I. And in 2020, as we watch the horror of the pandemic in the world around us, we give thanks for all that has been done to keep us safe here in Aotearoa. And we hope too that what we have done will continue to support our community and keep each other safe.